Why would Grandma write to a man she called husband when Grandpa died in '97? And why was one letter dated after I was born? Maple Hollow wasn't the kind of town that held secrets. It was the kind of town that baked pies for funerals, waved at passing trucks, and remembered everyone's birthdays. But when 24-year-old Emily Sanders returned for her grandmother's funeral, she wasn't looking for secrets. She was just looking to say goodbye. NSFX key turning. Door creaks open. Muffled footsteps echo on hardwood floors. The house smelled the same, like cedar, lavender, and old paper. Her grandmother's handwriting was still on sticky notes left across the kitchen. But upstairs, something else was waiting. Narrator. Reflective. Attics have a strange energy, like time gets stored in the insulation. Dust-covered boxes, cracked frames, and a chest Emily had never seen before. It was wedged behind old curtains, as if someone didn't want it found. NSFX metal latch clicks. Wooden creak as lid opens. Inside, a bundle of letters, neatly stacked, tied with twine. The name on the top envelope, to Daniel, my love always. Narrator, surprised tone. Daniel, that wasn't her grandfather's name. Her grandfather was Charles, a quiet man who passed when Emily was just 2. The dates didn't make sense either. The most recent letter, dated 20. NSFX paper rustles as envelope opens. Emily sat cross-legged on the floor, fingers trembling as she unfolded the first page. The handwriting was definitely her grandmother's. But the words were from a woman Emily never knew. Daniel, I saw her today, our daughter. She smiled like you. I wanted to tell her, but I couldn't. I'm not brave like you. One day, maybe she'll understand. Narrator. Dramatic pause. Daughter. Emily's breath caught. Who was she talking about? Her mother. No, that couldn't be. The letter was from 2001, the year after Emily was born. Narrator. Whispering tone. Unless it was about her. Narrator. Urgent now. She ripped through the rest of the letters, searching for more clues. Some were sweet, others sounded like confessions. One mentioned a baby, another talked about regret, one mentioned a fire. If they ever find out, everything will fall apart. I chose what I had to, for her sake. Narrator. Heavier tone. Emily's hands were cold now. This wasn't just nostalgia. It was something darker, deeper, the kind of thing that rewrites families and rearranges truths. NSFX, a letter drops to the floor. She stared at the final envelope. It wasn't sealed. Inside was a photo of a baby, a newborn wrapped in hospital blankets. On the back, Emily, March 18, 2000. But not ours. Narrator. Intense. The walls of the attic didn't shake. The lights didn't flicker, but Emily's world cracked a little. Then softly, who was she really? NSFX, faint wind outside, a distant church bell. Narrator. Cliffhanger tone. And why had her grandmother spent 20 years writing to a man she never mentioned once? Emily hadn't planned on staying more than a weekend, but now the attic letters lived in her head. Sleep felt impossible. So she stayed. She read. She searched. NSFX, laptop keys clicking, pages flipping, drawer opening. It started with a visit to the local records office, routine stuff, until she asked for a certified copy of her birth certificate. Emily Grace Sanders, she told the clerk. He nodded, disappeared into the back, and returned with a file. Emily opened it, and froze. Narrator. Slow, dramatic delivery. The certificate didn't say Emily Grace Sanders. It said Emily Rose Davenport. Mother, unknown. Father, Daniel J. Davenport. Narrator. Whispering disbelief. Daniel, that name again. NSFX, faint echo of a heartbeat. She stared at the document like it might correct itself. But it didn't. Her name, her parents, all different. Her entire identity, it seemed, had been carefully rewritten. Narrator. Solemn. The letters weren't just love notes. They were breadcrumbs. Back at the house, she opened her grandmother's closet, the one no one had touched since the funeral. In a box labeled Memories, Emily found what looked like an old hospital discharge form. Mother discharged, March 20. Newborn, Emily Rose Davenport. Narrator. Urgent, shaken. Same date, same name. A perfect match, but the mother listed. Not her mother. A different woman entirely. NSFX, deep exhale, paper dropping. Narrator. Quiet tone. Had she been adopted? No. She would have known. This wasn't legal. It wasn't formal. It was hidden. Narrator. Building tension. That night, Emily found an old voice recorder tucked in the back of a drawer, taped to it a sticky note that read for Emily. If she ever finds out. NSFX. Click. Soft tape hiss. A man's voice filled the room, weathered, trembling. Emily, I don't know what they told you, but you deserve the truth. Your mother loved you. So did I, but we were young, scared, and your grandmother, she made a decision, said it was for the best, said you'd have a better life. I never agreed to it, but I didn't stop it either. Narrator. Stunned silence. NSFX. Tape continues faintly in background. You were taken, Em, not adopted, taken. Narrator. Voice tightening. It wasn't a metaphor, not a misunderstanding. The man was confessing to something real, something dangerous. If you're hearing that, I'm probably gone, but I loved you every day of your life. NSFX. Click. Silence. Emily sat there, recorder in her lap, mind unraveling. If what he said was true, then her entire life was built on someone else's loss. Narrator. Cliffhanger tone, and the worst part, her grandmother, the woman who raised her, had orchestrated the whole thing. She said it was to protect me, but what kind of love steals a child and buries the truth for 24 years like it never happened? Grief does strange things to people. It makes them hide, makes them lie. But what Emily had uncovered wasn't a white lie born of panic. It was a calculated decision. Her grandmother hadn't made a mistake. She'd made a choice. NSFX. Rain against the window, fire crackling faintly in background. Emily sat across from her mother, or the woman she thought was her mother, in the kitchen they'd shared for years. The air was thick with silence. The letters were laid out on the table. The voice recorder was playing its final seconds. I loved you every day of your life. Narrator. Cutting tone. Her mother didn't flinch. She didn't cry, just nodded. I begged her not to do it, she finally whispered. But your real mom, she was 17. Homeless. Alone. My mother said she was doing her a favor, said the girl would never be able to raise you. Emily's voice trembled. And you thought you could just take me? No, she whispered. I thought if I didn't, someone worse would. Narrator. Raw, bitter tone. And just like that, the woman Emily had trusted all her life. The woman who made her lunch, sewed her Halloween costumes, taught her how to drive, confessed to the deepest betrayal imaginable, not just hiding the truth, but living inside a lie. SFX. Chair scraping, footsteps fading. Emily couldn't stay, not in that house, not with those people. She needed space. Answers. A new beginning. Scene shift. Cafe in Syracuse. Late afternoon. Emily sat at a small table by the window. She held a worn photo in her hand, the baby picture with her name on it. Across from her sat a man in his 40s. Brown eyes, nervous smile, shaking hands. I wasn't sure you'd come, he said quietly. She stared for a moment. You're Daniel? He nodded. I'm your father. I've never stopped being your father. Narrator. Emotional undercurrent. They talked for hours, about her mother, about the day she was born, about the moment she was taken. Daniel had tried to fight back then, but he was 19 and broke. And Emily's grandmother was wealthy, intimidating and legally untouchable. Narrator. Hopeful but unresolved tone. Now, years later, the truth had clawed its way out of the attic. Final voiceover as Emily stares out the cafe window. Narrator. Soft contemplative. Truth doesn't fix everything. It doesn't erase pain, but sometimes it frees the person who's been living inside a borrowed life. Emily hadn't come to Maple Hollow to find her identity, but she was leaving with it. NSFX. Fade out with faint city sounds and soft piano music.